Either you participate in
The town hall, yes. It should be, it shouldn't have.
Meeting, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:30. Without any motion. So, our discussion. I closed assumptions. Right. Yeah, we verified the analytics of finance committee wrong. So, we're so we move on to the 26th budget. I just want to make a quick comment. Here is one. $50,000 for change. The 2 years of COVID problems. Must be probably budget. Things don't change. All great. But it matters.
I made a point about it because it's having game.
Yeah, it's.
No, and. That's. And talk my.
It's all about these 50,000 30.
Well, have 6 months of data and we're looking at figuring that's 23 months. But we can still go a few weeks and you guys. No, I was just, so there's 100K in there for me. But that was discussed at the last meeting. We put it in there and not, just because we put it in there, it doesn't. Just because we put it in there doesn't mean it's solid in there. It's just in there for discussion.
Yeah.
Just like we are advisory to the board, this committee is advisory to the board.
The issue of the time, I understand you're gonna change the one which it comes in. I think it's based on. Like this yesterday. Too.
Yeah.
I think it was appropriate, chair and
Block ratings increase 45,000. You can make some. Terabytes.
There were 5 each question as well.
Yeah. Okay, looking at the version that we just received. Our fees. 57,000. Okay. So I think we should go directly to general events and parking rack.
Let's get that right.
What's that?
Other income, because you have much based on the income. Yeah.
Oh, other, yeah. Okay, we can do that.
Increase from, I think it was at 60.
Yeah.
And now
If you want to, at 4%, gets you to 115.
I did forecast and projected 20. About 16,000 that I estimated, just be conservative like that. You know, they 6 of them all.
Yes,
So,
we may be able to, that's the cash cow.
yeah.
Yeah, that where did you end up with that?
So
I looked at it on that case. Income was expenses. Park director's down 47,000.
income is 87. That's 155.
Now, that's still a $47,000 now in the fire on that basis. Look at the contraction.
No, that's defense. So looking at the revenue versus the projected,
Changes. And then, yeah, he's on. That's just true now.
Some of it, and $47,000. It's been sitting there for a while, and anytime you try to look at the income independent of the revenue, also of the expenses, it gets a little frustrating. Look at the net basis. Events, I think, is improved by 36,000, if I remember them. So this is a real humbling in my mind. Maybe there's a good reason. I haven't heard of it yet.
well, you're not doing farmer's market anymore, so you block that revenue. You're not doing, paper plays anymore in Park and Rec, so you've lost that revenue. Food truck, the whole in events is moving to quarterly, so they're losing.
So how much is food truck, how much is paper play? We won't release the chunks of what we're giving up for some reason.
They just weren't popular.
Okay.
So paper play is $16,000 in revenue. Farmer's market is 25,000
How much in expenses?
in expenses, paper plays.
Zero. Now you look at 3,500.
I believe the one is the more expensive employee. This is the breaking. Okay, I don't want to be labored, but at the same time, that's a pretty significant number to drop off. I guess it's because of some revision.
Yeah, I mean, they're altering program also because they're one department now, so some of the things are coming out of that versus coming out of streamlined.
And looking at a combined basis, we're down about $12,000. Okay.
I just like the, I mean, based on the least last projected revenues of 1,008. Expenses rate of receipt 33. Just more the issue, expenses.
Actually, they're going from 77,000 projected to 110,000. So that's $43,000.
Everybody go.
So, man, yeah.
Okay, and
It's and
one of the biggest ones is CCFC, which projection for this year. I'm sorry. Take that down.
looks like it's $8,000. It's some great, looks like it's going up.
That usually the problem, though.
It is
Very important than the expected. So.
It's.
I didn't get into the detail, but we, CCF is on $8,000. I can put an island building, I think it is, I'm looking at it for 5,000. The $3,500 pump in there for.
More on current here.
Thank you.
In their annual.
Administration. Yes, the changes were.
Yes, it's change for the field, soccer, the process, bandage replacement, lining road, CPR first aid, AED certifications, net lifts, and straps, timing for the dog park, bowl, dog park bandage, staff equipment, corner flags, and conflict and all that stuff.
Okay.
With 5,000 expendable funding for that. It's a very, before.
So isn't that a revenue? Well, that's not, but that's like. It's basically another one behind it.
So you just.
Line by line, so they on rec is 3,800 higher than last year. Your CCFC is 80,000 higher, which they're projected to be about 1,000, so we're expecting 7,000 additional spend there.
We kind of purchased the netting and stuff, I don't think,
I guess past couple of years it's been around 16,000. So not too much shifts. And we just. We got it done, so. I'll look at the parts of that, too much, but I think Jimmy brought up earlier, which maybe that we can, the general baskets. We want to have some type of. Ownership over that we expect, whether that's 20, but very that came out of that. We're not going to be on the membership of the version that could be in that Parks and Rec, and we're grabbing that is seeking sponsorship for certain events.
almost every.
But we're not budgeting.
So you had targets every year for sponsorship. Or
Yeah, they know it.
so over the last year, what did you have?
This
The sponsorship expectation?
in 24, they were close to meeting it. In 23, they exceeded it. 25, they're trying to catch up because of the turnover in the lifestyle event manager.
With more business than celebration now?
So they're trying to catch up. And then for 26, they've added additional sponsorships from what they originally put in here.
So annual sponsors came out, and that was the end of the program, so that truly should be zero.
Yes.
Sponsorship pays into all the events.
Yes. Yeah, if you go to the event forum, it'll be. Also, getting one.
And how do. I don't think. Should. But yeah, 25.
Well, let's talk about it, right? Look at the event, a little hot of summer. 5,000 in 2024, 2025. I think it's the most popular event. 2,000 this year. I think it's low. Should be at least. The event staff.
Oh. Yeah.
That's 2,000 currently, but still, I think that's an event. They should be able to get 5,000.
This is absolutely correct, because in 2025, you started to $8,547.
Well, but did not have, right?
It was $9,959. In 23, it was $9,772. Those are the actual expenses.
We'll suggest we just put a placeholder for that everyone.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, I agree.
But this is up to reading and.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's enough that they would need to. We need to do all the actual numbers because those.
But it's been getting on day. Certainly lost these events. However, you trim the events. It's great revenue. I'm not comfortable. Funny, yeah, revenue. It's on track.
I think it's, you incentivize people to get the missions. When you're using only 60,000 hours, how many people actually participate in these?
So that's the issue, right? It becomes taking small, maybe you get. Those that are more. And
That's part of their goals, I assume, the lifestyle stuff, that's part of their employee, the like X% sponsorship. Like that's actually built into the program.
Well, the final comment on that would be, I think there's room to push out sponsorship revenue. How much to be determined?
Yeah, we can come back to it, we can take a look through. Okay, electricity didn't really change.
That didn't change, like the two big that they. 30 for PCSC. They've also been with Island Road.
So, geez.
Here.
Did you find the projected? These numbers, yeah. The budget numbers are tied with projected, it's the projected, it's the budget number, it's the.
electricity would do the increase in basic and whatever the usage. Usage.
The usage rate based on the heat and the other, and how much they regularly have that one.
It's up 8.5%. Reasonable.
$14,000 in actual hours, it's not gonna change more than you. It's not. You argue over like how many or something. You know.
Okay. I'm putting it down. Well, so let's give me, this is where. Tree trees. And Sydney. So there's nothing coming to the, so nothing's ever going to happen. For trimming.
I would consider it similar to North of Pines, but it's nothing normal maintenance within the area.
These places, also.
Think it's not enough, but yeah, sorry, the neighborhood, the whole town looks like trees in the air, and we neglected it forever, okay? That's really bad. These,
We didn't, we just got it back.
well, okay,
CPD
but
neglected.
nobody, right, but they weaseled us into taking it back. Those trees have been neglected for longer.
Easements alone will be about $9,500. Spring Park.
Yeah.
Easements alone, about $9,500. We outlined about 10 parks that are needing it, that will facilitate that amount of fund. Keep in mind that also is needed for a tree replacement for our property now. This one here is about $2,500. We have the budget for now, that we weren't budgeting it. And I
Everybody what the agreement is on the easements with DEP.
So the updated agreement isn't formalized yet. It's on the board agenda tomorrow to be discussed. But in your governing docks, it does call out CROA is different than homeowners, where CROA is responsible for the sidewalks and the easements on and the easement trees that surround CROA.
Parks. Should we, so that was in addition to the scope of the current landscape contract, we didn't even do that, we haven't do that.
We have no, no. I mean, but we currently maintain the easement sod and already under the current contract. The tree trimming of the side and tail that would be required in the easement trees wouldn't fall under the contract period because it's over the 10-foot limit anyways.
So this tree tree is only for crosswalks.
Yeah.
But you'll still do it for apartments and businesses and. Yeah. Yeah.
But on a limited basis.
So we're getting hammered by Canoa this year and CCD.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll get two new things.
And we don't know if this number is enough or not. I think it's a big number right now, and I'm not here.
What did you figure for the cycle?
That's what, 10, and then our 3 parts.
He made up previous part view. So he's been turned before.
Was PDD.
I would think rarely they have.
When they ran into the sidewalk issue, they backed off on the trees. They traded out sidewalk to trees.
It's my understanding, the park is wrong.
In the park, yes, not the easement.
Okay, what is the cycle and how long, how many years to do all of them, or what's the annual, what are we looking
At 70, you're looking at about 70,000 a year, plus replacement trees that fall on farms, which is about 10,000. Right now, what we're looking at this year is about 10,000 in tree replacements. 70,000 would be for tree trimming. That would then be typical in the sense, 1 year we would do in park, next year we would, and 10, by the time we finish, we're back.
at? So, okay, 3 years to go through the cycle,
3 to 4 years.
I'm saying, has it ever been done? So you're taking that cycle or you just?
It's been done minimally, only to bring the tree canopy up above the sidewalk to the required level and below the required level. There's not been a significant amount of trimming of dead limbs, you know, trimming costs.
Those numbers.
And not every park is,
But we did, I mean, we based it off of Parkview, which hadn't been touched in town no more.
there's 83 parks, but they're not on. So they don't have, nobody can on that, so.
So 1 year, we're gonna,
Maybe 2 years is a cycle, I mean, depending on how it shakes out, in different years. But I think that's a plan for getting, okay, these are. Fit in 3 year turnaround. Basically, 70. 50.
And we were already in CDD starting tree trimming. We put that in the
committee,
That's the separations.
but I mean, that was the landscaping contract.
Because of that. For years.
So we'll see, it comes out at the end of the first year, and then you fire agreement of the number, to get it done in 3 and 4, and there's how much you can cost.
Okay, I'm worried about it's 80,000, everything in spending. So I'm taking a little bit of haircut on what it should be. Some shit is not really 110, 100,000.
Our initial number was 1.1 on that line.
I
So we didn't,
mean, which is. The 15% increase and blame free trimming. They probably is high enough.
So I guess is the direction that we're recommending the board is grant max says up to 70,000 to spend. We know it's not going to cover everything, but on the ones, you know, over.
Can cover a segment with a look at it, see if it doesn't in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
If we have to accelerate or decelerate.
an example of that process. we're applying for park improvements, trying to age out and that we're trying that we also have communicated, it's not enough. But your work through it and try to
What's on in the year?
and as long as we continue communicating where we are, we can be on this, it's going to take time, but we're working on it. And
We identified the 10 parks for this year.
yes,
Are they a mix here, big ones, small ones, or just?
Are. The seasonal flowers, so unfortunately, any reason why.
Is there ever been a conversation about bringing the landscaping in the house? Because this is a huge number. Is there any savings?
I mean, if you just start.
Insurance.
In your entire.
Yeah.
Just think about the first big acquisition of
We could
equipment,
come.
trucks, mowers.
Yeah. Really one thing.
Every 3 years, someone brings it up. And then.
Yeah.
We got 2 more years.
My job is to tamp it down.
I had an idea.
Source things that you have competency in that you can do well. This you're going to maintain staff. Won't get started.
Also, well, I mean, it's on meeting, floating to do this, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a claim too. Keep. Not fun.
It's why, when we try to make residential, maybe, right? Responsible.
Insurance.
Who's responsible for the easement of the end of the homeowner? The CCD, well, the CCD, so.
But that's a great line because you see it uncovers that half of the tree to the street, from half of the tree to the
Yeah.
house.
But now under the rule, they have now, who would have that, you come over your property, don't let you cut it down.
But this discussion is about the $70,000 on the pro budget for pro parks.
But there's a greater issue, right, you know, that lack of maintenance. I'm not sure, trying to figure out who's responsible for it, and so if you have a single family home, lots of single family homes, overgrown trees, who would be responsible on the rules? Is the homeowner and
It's,
what?
it's mixed.
Okay.
That's why it's a gray area.
And if the homeowner does so much damage and kills a tree, then it's on the homeowner, not.
So let's say hire a profit tree trimming company in the place. Who's responsible?
But in general, we're going to be trimming trees in the medium, in the easement for home. Right?
No.
No, pro parks,
Parks, oh, it's not home.
pro park.
The parks.
I thought this would be home.
Just the easement.
If we want it,
He's still in tandem.
it almost seems to me, right, if the homeowner is responsible on the sidewalk side, right? I mean, when our inspectors inspect, what they criticize the grass, the first thing they should do is the trees that haven't been elected by somebody, right?
Well, it can be, if the resident can complain about that tree. And it gets PCDD.
I think we're getting off topic.
Yeah, can we bring it back to budget?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, is there a greater budget that needed, or is it a homeowner?
That's good. Full operating expenses increased $24,015 since the last budget.
Yeah, we're trying to bring it in line with the projected, and we're seeing more and more need for, leak detection in the pools because of their age. So we're recommending twice a year, for the pool.
Okay, but for all the full repair, the projected down. For the. June. That I mean, if we're going through, if we get into the fall, we'll have as much spending as we get in spring, affecting a lot of the pool fixes that we did. We do.
Want to, but we can.
I'm just curious.
I was just gonna add, projection, the 12-month projection for all the full repairs is about 132,000. Our budget is only 48,000. So we're cutting quite a significant amount from what the actual spend was this year versus the expectation.
There's
Less than half of what's expected, but then the numbers that we have. That's pretty village, 5,000, right? That's being usable, then, you know, we're expecting something more. 40,000. Bigger cushion there, it's spring.
the immediate action is having, it isn't paying inspector to go out and check.
Taking out, get the week, close to $1,000 per tool per visit.
This is the new company reason.
So this is different than the inspection in the past for more of a safety and compliance. Those we're bringing in. But what we have been seeing more need of and bringing them ad hoc is leak detection. And during the leak detection and inspection, it's a flat rate before they arrive, about $950. And they dive into the pool, do the break, and do all the ones, identify the leaks as well as patch them for fixable non. So these can help. Well, one, we're just seeing that we're needing more of these, so we're trying to make sure we budget appropriately for them. It's not just coming out of general expenses. And two, because of the amount of leaks we have to start on equipment, which is plugging equipment to floor harder and then break. So so this is in a sense preventative maintenance. So we can try to get minor leaks before they start. If we make it scheduled by it.
Be a part of that, more than they are able to do it.
They're not able to, depending on skill.
Well, if you look back, the 23, 240,000, and 24 was 308,000. This year, we've got the anomaly of 475. We're bringing them back to 413. So, 2 previous years, 240, 308, and now we're at 413. Let's move about a little bit. Is there a little room there? You can guess that, but yeah, there might be a little bit there, but you're guessing.
Well, I was thinking the lead action will pay for that.
Well,
I think that as well as just our team being more confident on top of this, which is bad. Also changing out the company to one that can try to be better with taking care of our equipment, where we can hopefully see better band projections. That is the hope, but
don't reduce this number, they're effective. You can come backwards and look for the face to the media, what time we're gonna have competitor. Bears,
now that'll be once they take over the contracts.
they're gonna take them over.
It's beginning of next month.
Yeah, this
So
one's.
You're setting a deal on what time it is.
It shouldn't be, no, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, but there are some things that. Let's see.
So.
The concept of this though is we may see this, I think it's gonna be in the next 3 months, an average to what we've been seeing. I think we may see a spike next month when they take over and we repair everything. The hope is once we fix those, we should see a dip the following month or two because everything at that point should have been instead and fixed. So we may see a spike over the next 3 months, but it should average.
There's some money in the replacement fund or repair maintenance.
When it's applicable, we're taking it in the board.
1 year and
Yeah, we have some there. Yes.
Yeah, we have some there, but the board will either be on this packet or on this packet.
With the,
Yes, unidentified.
resurfacing, the ruined warranty, don't we have a year after for leaks and things of that nature for leaks that is agreement?
Anything warranty related, we are acting upon and it is being addressed. And they are addressed, but everything else is everything that can be.
Well, then, the 14,000, you're expecting that across all schools or just certain?
14,000 is two inspections a year per wall.
Jim, want to set this one back for further discussion or your meeting?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they were building it. Minor changes. I guess because of the increased maintenance shop. Budget $10,000.
Will be able to leave names on ground.
It is $3 grand.
And
It's pretty hard. So what's the vehicle maintenance?
We have more vehicles now.
Oh. Factory one. Or one new one.
One lot, your money's spent.
Two more vehicles.
The minutes are aging and there's maintenance on it as well.
which I think that's a larger, deeper conversation than the size of our community is continuing to grow, that our net's no longer serviceable. And I think it's that we should be trying to something else that didn't actually.
Never start phase replacement and reserve in next year, but we are already planning for next board. But is the manufacturing board.
Here.
So I think that's where the vehicle plate is going to be looking at less NAS and more all the insertions.
Imagine, what's it, is it 50,000 people in the center meeting was.
That is separating out right now inside the business center. It apply to general maintenance abilities. Yes, so right now, all about the tenant get tagged under Island Village maintenance. So it's not, we're not able to identify, and we know that the gyms are requiring a large vent and maintenance. We're trying to pull the gyms out so we can keep general maintenance expenses separate from. Yes. Every month.
Katie has.
I really.
I know the 15,000 that takes out the year-to-date numbers so far, or like what, the 15,000? Do we like what the year-to-date is so far for gym maintenance? Because we
There's only been two pieces of equipment. Sure.
That's not accurate. That's not accurate.
Maybe.
The pull down has been broken multiple times, the bike has been in and out.
There's also items that may not be noticed to residents of damage, but are caught during the mountain infections that need to be addressed for safety that then get.
Let me make two comments on this part. The credit from the prior year that's in the projected and year to date really distorts a little bit what that projection is. Those giving it credit for $36,000. So without that in there, which is the paper entry, our expenses in this area this past year, or this year, are projected for $434,000. Being normal. Now we're at $363. I don't know how much more you can do with that, given where it's playing, but so it's a little bit, the sky is clear. So you gotta take that out and really get to an apples to apples comparison. The other thing, how much, did we ever figure out how much inventory we have?
Yeah, Christian was supposed to get that to us within 45 days left.
Get the wrong number, we don't need it to the plus tax thing. This is an average price, what's your order of magnitude, is it 5,000, is it 20,000, 50? Just a feel,
We'll have them get,
because that's obviously
Work in
expensive. Expense against, that's obviously. Move that up. So get that, we can normalize that in here too, and then see where we are in comparison.
But under maintenance shop,
yes.
yeah, because the unprojected is gonna take us 6 months.
That's what I'm gonna ask. I mean,
Up in there. Inventory, that's.
but I guess I question that 12-month frame. We're really gonna spend $75,000 in the income shop this year? Is that actually gonna happen? $300 budget for triple this year? What you spending?
That's.
No, it's still, and then I guess, right, like, second, the 68,000, there. That's right. I just think, from my view, the 12-month projections look extremely inflated. Just because you're done.
Correct, everything in terms of maintenance. On the exception of maintenance.
And that's where I'm looking at more of what the budget is. Look at last year. And how that. The projections. Maybe they did a lot of work maintenance, but I wouldn't expect that same fair meeting.
Briefly back.
And what's the issue with Jim is in a lot of youth down, they manual.
I think, if I'm using it properly. So the not, I'm making it in a vacuum, which means the vehicle is not always used the way it's intended to.
Yeah, sure.
Follow up, repair maintenance is inventory, what that is, put that in your normalized.
Well, that's what, gyms in general, maybe something you consider a membership fee. That they're not creating more, people are destroying them. You gotta pay 5%.
Straight up into policy now instead of the we gotta do the budget, instead of the policy now.
Operating,
All right.
you don't break, you don't get it.
Yes.
It's gonna be that. I'm savings. It's under the shop for refill. A capital, yeah.
Gonna be a new building, so we should have repair made. Yeah, that's except. Gonna be 100%.
I guess this is the expectation of when they.
No. And I mean, let's say, in the set.
6 months. But minimum will say, conservative, 6 to 9 months, so.
You're gonna have, whatever, I don't feel it completely. I mean, I would have. 2,000 to 3,000 there.
Takes a whole.
Mechanical. About.
I mean, even our new bathroom.
Shit.
We are doing just prevented, yeah. We dropped like 10,000.
Okay, we got it, drop them by 10.
Okay.
Awareness, we're just blowing this up because people like split that into the side.
Safety, security.
This is the agreement for the year round. This is, we got an updated quote for next year. This is the monitoring, yes, and the fire certification.
since, changed.
Here's the other.
Oh, they're operating. Yeah, we need, yeah. I will talk about doing pretty stuff with you. Jason. Do you have any information for the number that's 34,000, or is that you, when you say you need a number?
Yeah, I need input from the committees
Okay,
on a number.
okay. Because again, we're being deficit. That's,
I think there's a clause that a nonprofit that have other business income, is that individual wants to count, it's not necessarily empty. What I've called on 7, is that right, correct? Yeah. Think of that. So whenever our interest income is basically, we're calling pay tax on that. But it's not, somebody should, somebody needs to check on that, but I'm 90%. It's not easy. It's on $1,000. You know who will know? It's Tina.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody should call Tina and ask. It's her special. I'm quite sure.
Street income is, we're be running down.
Should CCS be doing all of our investments?
Say again,
Should CCS be doing all our investments? Should we be putting all the money through CCS?
is that a separate nonprofit?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still gonna be other income in a nonprofit that's gonna be taxed as a, not your normal business.
I thought it was 10%.
I'm right.
I thought it was
So we'll check with Tina.
yeah.
Because that's another activity inside a nonprofit, the IRS comes in and stuff.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
For nonprofits in the religious space, it can be up to 10% of the income. If it goes over 10%, then it's taxed, yeah. So under 10% of the total revenue, we should be all right.
Okay, but Jim, did you hear that? There might be a threshold.
Yeah.
Other revenue expert. I don't think we ever did, but we were talking, Tina kept saying we need to have a provision for it.
Right. And then it can be argued, so if we owe tax.
That's a wrong statement. They don't do great. I'm just trying to get on.
The ordinance would, if there is a tax levy, would be calculating the tax. Just saying they're on their own. Right. This is one of the issues that they can touch. There is certain areas of independence that voters can't touch, but in this environment here, they surely they can do anything.
That's why I'm asking about the 501c3 with CCS, because that's a different tax liability. And so let's ask Tina that too.
With the circling back on the fitness centers, we're about $4,500 on monthly service visits. That's the preventative maintenance and infection. And then year to date, about 6,500 on repairs. So 15,000 does look,
Yeah.
it's about right on.
We work with the gym, there was some of the meetings that would have been if you used to be. Review the.
Cameras are now.
Only like many years ago was kids came in and all right down to the office the next day and
If it's like, if a crankshaft so is broken, like do that on a monthly inspection or is wearing out and needs repaired. On that monthly inspection, we would have to review all the way to find it out.
It's just heavy use.
Alert.
More so heavy usage. That, yeah.
but we don't know that. Kids coming in. So somebody's got to be there.
Get back to the, people have available 24 hours a day.
Okay, indirect fees?
Yes.
Sorry.
We did 25,000, we're projecting to use 68. We're projecting $5,000 next year. That's pretty sizable decrease. We're not using rental services.
We're not using them in the archive.
These are like landscaping, common areas or when we're going to the park, we're just not using. And what the,
Anything on professional fees and bank fees?
I guess Charles, just on that, Wednesday farm executive, town architect, I think there's been way less use of them. So that's where we kind of separated those two items, but even mine kind of was allocated in the areas, so.
I think it's being park and we, I thought we, common areas.
Well, we had this discussion a few weeks ago.
July. Yeah, so on July first, they lowered landscape architect by 7,000 from 12,000 to 5,000 and lowered the town architect by 5,000 from 25,000.
This year we're projected for about 15, 16 between the two of them.
Based off
25, yeah. To me, I think it's pretty generous.
the change in the area process of reviewing those and signing on.
Okay. Association communications, anything? General and administrative expenses.
I'm just going to do that. I'm letting you walk on. Their problem.
For assembly voting, you pay by door. Mailing stuff is, and printing stuff is expensive.
And we want to squeeze everything great, look at science. 2025, but it's not going to do anything there.
On the, debt reserve, we have healthy amount of receivables on the balance sheet. Have the auditors, because the gap on house bid that's typically what anybody here who's in the can go up on. We don't do an incurred loss model, we do active loss model. It's very different, increase in reserves. But we have healthy, we might collect all of that instead of what that's, instead of non-shot. That should be, but we still might have an issue.
I don't think so. We went through the bad debt with the auditors, that they actually called it out in the comment section. We proved it, not proved it, we told them, and then that's what they called out, so they told it out. The other thing is, we have leverage on the lien, with other things, so technically, we never should have lost. We are equal.
My issue is really, I take the house and say, okay, when I pass away, you'll get me at a discount. It's a really good tax.
Bad debt?
You had one foreclosure. Let's say 3 years ago, during which you didn't get the full amount that you were owed.
Because all creditors were shorted. Okay, so you're gonna have, that's a pretty unusual situation for the whole, the whole part is underwater.
Well, you have your safe harbor in Florida, which is not one of the things that you get, so.
Okay.
That's where it is.
That was in foreclosure proceedings for 5 years.
We had a pretty big cabinet.
Under general admin expenses, except for Lakely, the biggest item on there is miscellaneous, urban development. Well, I know that. That's a large, I do not know what's in it. 30,000. And then be redistributed or broken down into something that's understandable.
Sometimes it's also part of that, I think.
Upside down.
And
I asked that question last year.
I remember.
If you're not getting something going on, you're right, I think that's one.
Yeah, we've done this last.
yeah, I think, I mean, do you need that? Is that, we all know what's in it. It's in it.
We're watching. And it's fine.
2024 was 36,000, we're projected for 21,000 this year, so
$3,000. That's. Look at it.
The budget for last year was 30, we're just keeping it steady at 30.
The experience is what?
Reduction, 60,000, 23. There's another one drop the judge, somebody.
When is the most critical?
Yeah.
Same as. You know why? Because you got $8,000 there.
Did not for last year's budget.
let's drop it to 25 at the bid line.
We're talking much about.
I said, let's change it to 25 and stay, hey, we're having to look at it.
So if I negotiate?
That's labor.
Another labor notes.
Like if they purchase something,
Like some of the variable billing is in there, yeah. That's somewhat in there, yeah, so that's some of the variable billing or like, or proven variable billing, I think goes in there. The variable bill.
Me, and director.
I'll pull this up.
Do we use, headhunters to, right, and then they charge you what is it?
Or charges you for frequent fees.
Not the material thing, which could create another rule. Just put it in.
Yeah.
Put it here.
The one that the service area manager, like, they pay. Well, that. You, that's a really kind of program. But we fleshed out pretty good.
Change it to 25?
Yeah. I'm gonna get the information first and make a little back to the decision.
The change for that?
Yeah.
Not mine.
Okay.
I would give the privilege to the issue.
You're setting a target.
I will say, I saw that 2 years ago, and it all came back with extremely mundane. So if you're looking for something that's like, I gotcha, it's not gonna be that $30,000. I promise, and I'm good at that.
Yeah, it's being variable bill.
Okay. That's. IT.
It hasn't changed since the first time.
Thing what I think is still interesting, and I think it's like categorization. In 23, it was $48,000. 24, $128,000.
Similar to 15 CD.
Now, in 2 of the 17, things are tracking on the 236. That's almost a 5-fold increase each year.
A lot of the right sizing of CJB versus Crowley usage.
How do we make that increase?
What staff uses what,
Yeah, mix.
what staff uses what.
So, what, or something?
Well, CJC staff uses this, and Crowley staff uses this, and they're attributed
Percentage.
to them.
Percentage of labor, that's fine.
And we're told to learn by the agency name, yeah.
There was two new line items, is that just More granular. I think
It's more granular.
Yeah.
More granular.
Just sliding up, I'd be curious what your findings are for Marlon, and if you hit your savings and all. Things of that nature. Yeah. Curious if you did that or did it, or what that cost is.
I think Smart was a valuable purchase and a value add to the community to the point where we are not asking for an additional body next year, even given the additional.
You keep moving, using Smart Web.
They are using it for our application, which is becoming very helpful, and they are engaging the staff, like the covenants that are meetings, which is creating a dialogue.
And I'll turn around. I'll go for the top.
Also, seeing a lot of components as well. The covenants committee meetings are getting very short.
And the inspectors are accomplishing a lot more inspections than they ever did without smart webs. Or leading their others.
Correct. Basically, saying
With smart. Oh, yes, because it's electronic and. Yeah.
Okay, we done with IT? Compensation? The number didn't change from the last.
it was already reduced to 2%.
Two people.
I pulled one.
I think your number in the 12-month projected along 576. If they'll pull right to the 6 months to.
I didn't, so this was my struggle with this one, because this number did not change from May to June. For the full year-to-date expenditures, so I don't think this variable bill got sent in June.
Never happened, the wrong numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not accurate. So that $9,000 comparison to the 114,000 going up 1,000% is accurate.
Yeah.
We can draw for $9,000.
Or the blue benefit plan.
If you've got a problem, you have to do your,
I flagged this for corporate,
yeah, year to date and projected.
yes.
The employee benefit plans are not parent plans. What is the cost? There's a contribution from.
GM and employees pay as well. So there's a free plan for just the employee, or the employee can buy up. And then any additional people have to be added. We provide employee and then grant.
We get $100,000 for that number, so it's not, more than 5.
Yes.
So that's in line with what
There
that is.
something wrong with these numbers.
So the current budget is the total compensation, 9% of what we're projected. So that is.
Well,
It's gonna-
part of that is this.
It's gonna cut down.
Here.
It's going to go down the time we're reading that projected for the year. I bet the number is 9,300. That'll be more like 100,000.
This benefit
Basic.
is wrong.
Yeah.
For the project.
Look at your approved budget, it's 1.3 last year for the year 2025.
Right.
You fix that, the other numbers are at like 1.26, which is in line with what we're budgeting. Yeah. So overall, it comes down about 70,000.
So the benefit plan number is not.
The projection of there's something wrong with the two number. The two numbers highlighted.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
The 1.269 for 1.6 is every salary for the entire.
No, just one.
One page. At 50,000.
Yes.
That's correct.
It's good.
You're the CBC salaries come through the job committee expense.
Yes.
That need to be specific.
This is maintenance, everything in, oh, correct. I know that application, I would make for that, and don't have to follow the important decisions.
Is that the number that goes in that apartment calculation?
Yeah.
Where that,
So the apartment rent, the question that you asked me earlier, apartment rent fees are the salaries and benefits that are tied to that, our facilities, parks and rec, events, communications, and then 30% of the administrative team.
can you tell me what that totals? Those are the ones for that recreation, lifestyle and maintenance line. I was able to tie every number of except that one, then I didn't know what the next was.
So it's the 287, 278 for parks and rec.
And stuff.
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
And, or if you want to just pull, this is. So it's parks and rec, operations, events, communications, a third of admin, then the burden, insurance load. That number, which should be pulled into the apartment rent fee.
The part of revenues at $1,859,458. There's one I'm pretty glad. 1,859, this is the one I got earlier today.
And I updated that in 11, because I'm gonna get it again.
You didn't tell me that. Cycle. Okay, go to the bottom and we see what the bottom looks like, because we only got 1% on apartment fee, which I thought was crazy. So we put $100, so per unit, there you go. 584, now we're up about $20 on 5. And we're about 4% now, we were 1% before.
Another 100.
How much additional money we want? 1,118,000, that was 1,152. So it's about, we picked up about $40,000 down, about $38,000.
Did you change this number?
I'm the one that asked you.
Is that in here today or yes?
The one that was sent out on Friday.
Okay. Where are you looking at?
Yeah.
The apartment fee.
On the bottom.
Expected revenue?
Yeah, you fix 589 number?
Look at it out, but it just received.
This is. Well, no, because now it's gonna have changed because we changed some of the money in operating expenses. So it flows back into this, because this is applied to the other.
But you did pick up a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah, about 40,000.
Yeah, so that was good. And now the apartments are experiencing about a 4% increase, or it was 1%, which I thought. Unbelievable.
I just like to, with the things.
Sharpen. Okay.
It's about the answer to the auditor for this.
That's the numbers you have in there. Huh? Okay. We don't mind.
We're at the capital improvement information.
Your overall right now with the current changes is 5.7.
Capital resources, one comment, and we're still got that in there at 400 for the $750,000. We want to change that average sale price on a home.
Kind of two ways that you're gonna either do 75 homes for every 100,000 or 750 homes for every 7,000. So you're gonna, you can move the numbers either way. So
Tim, are we using your number? You're using it as calculation? The home, the average home.
That's what he did. You kind
It was a little higher.
of just put it into the. You don't have to say that. I have to error. But I'm looking at with this year, from 300, I mean, for next year, 375 on, we say it's 400.
It's irrelevant, you want to kind of accurate, your past those, but it'd be what it is, but it's no effect on the.
Just comparatively speaking, when we started for like phase one homes, the budget was 400, the actual was 533 sales. So 2026, keeping the budget at 400, you know, is conservative. Based on prior years.
And we know that the average price is 830 right now.
Yeah, it probably will be supposed to be 820.
We're at 750, so we're not so conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doubly conservative.
It's just, you're not allowing this is.
Right, it doesn't. That's what I would.
The impact would be to either beating out the capital base allocation and then we don't need to have the capital improvement allocation. That's how I mean. Like those numbers there, you know, to have to go overall, you would have the right time. If you're gonna say, if we're only in, we try to do that. Thousand, pretty easily.
Yeah, so. In the forecast. Yeah. Yeah, actually, we might got to be.
Let's round up, we'll get it there, yeah.
Yeah, so I used the 250, application. Figuring that if we pay 1.325 on 851 in 2025, and that would million 625 in 2026. I would pay 1.2 for a multi, which we don't have any feedback yet. And then upper capital project spending is 550. We would still have 1.5 million in the capital fund. You can spend on that at the end.
At the end of 20,000.
With the 250 contribution?
Yeah.
What's the percentage at 251?
Around 3%, 3.4 or something.
Okay.
9.6.
Oh, that sounds, maybe have another 23% somewhere.
Natural wizard. We don't watch 3250. I thought they're talking 3 million.
You get Jim, go back. Yeah, at the end of 27, what did you have?
And 27.
Or what year did you, oh, year 26? 26, okay, the end of 26.
Yeah. So I think we started the year at 3,070,000. Get in 1,550,000, get 250. There's a jug. We don't get all the cash on the capital fund every month, so you gotta play a little game with that a little bit. But 1,625,000 and 851, 1,002,000 for the courts and additional, which is either board park enhancements by master planning, depending on how much money's in there. But that extra 600,000 in there, that could be as low as 100,000 if you go to park enhancements and the board of the improvement. So $1,545,000. If you only spend 100,000, would be it's still a 2 million for the capital fund at the end of it.
So I guess for
$2 million.
selling,
I can go out 2.1. Yeah. Even you pull the 250 up to the high, pull 250. Yeah, pull it, you will run calls. Yeah. So.
So do you feel differently about that then, Mike?
What they're putting in that.
The 250?
Yeah, I have an opinion.
It's a boy thing, you know,
We have to do budget.
get to be good, not the courts, we could.
but I,
You 351 is
What is
What is the contract number that we have? We don't have a contract number.
Just say between 3 and 4.
5.35 a month.
Thousand that gives us flexibility. Should that come? Or should we have money started?
So
Around things.
in looking at the projects with capital, whether we have this 500 or not, has zero impact on the new. You're then looking forward and splash pad. Those two are covered. Then if you go out the next year with your, I personally don't think you get rid of the 500 entirely, that impacts. Now, the following year, it definitely impacts. You can 2.3 million per child.
The housing market. Into problems.
So this number is not impacted. For splash pad,
I mean, you put the heritage hall in 27. 2027. My forecast sheet on 537,000. If you go to 50 of that.
Be doing that. Every all day.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's 2.3 million as that kind of projection of capital. So if you push that out a year, you just put this is spend.
My thinking is, I don't want to sacrifice the future because we can't manage the precedents of the meeting where they, we costs. We operate in the fund. We do services. Still think that we try to put aside, what we can do capital because we're in, we want to can. Because the flexibility, what we did with the spring park later, we above and beyond the replacement. Funded the enhancement with capital. We don't know what's going to happen. You don't want to have to look at the whole stuff. It may never happen. Like, it may never happen and may not be the reality, but it does give us some flexibility. That's just my thought, but what are the
We're not comfortable with a double-digit increase with a full. The capital fund, given all the variables that have taken place over the past year, with the increase capital assessment taxing, we have that in place. And then the two major drivers of this year's budget, and just this year, so 250,000 to cover some of these changes, then be next year. You have to get the year. So we need 250,000.
It's gonna push free GMP, but I think if you're paying 250, that's well within what it's 50. But I agree, I don't think we could push a 2-digit increase with what others are doing.
because that's still, I heard double digit, I mean, yeah, but. 7% increase, I mean, 10%. I mean, just the second.
It's 13. It'd be 13.
13.
You've got a couple of variables, this is where we sit today.
I guess just.
Reducing it from 500.
I had the same thoughts on the talking about that. It'd be.
City management's gonna come and recommend we fund it at its full rate, correct?
It's not as a recommendation.
Why?
I thought we stressed that as we.
We have strong recommendations about the replacement fund.
Replacement fund.
I get you under.
See, just a different name on it. Same function.
So I will say that from what I've seen historically, once you reduce the line like this, it's not gonna go back up. Because we've seen that with the apartment rec fee, no matter what you're calling the contribution, it was in the 6, 7 range based on the apartment rec fee that year. Then we artificially got you down by cutting that contribution in half, and it has not increased since then, and it's remained at that 500 level. So it's gonna be, I think you're gonna find it really hard to bump it back up. When we have.
Well, honestly,
To be part of the budget.
I would disagree with that statement, the fact that if you put a plan in place of what you're doing for the community, maybe support it, then that increase will be justified and supported. If you're just cutting it and trying to make pennies every year and have no direction whatsoever, then yeah, I agree with you something.
I mean, but your board's switching every year and your board majority or your board thought they change every year. You've gone some significant changes in terms of your thought process and philosophy on a myriad of topics. So just because this board said, yes, we're gonna cut it to 250 now, and next year we want to push it back up to 500, doesn't mean next year the board's gonna honor that.
People feel better. If you look at 2025, if you do 1.5 million and if you work with the contribution, you're still higher than the prior year. Totally. So the capital resale assessment saved by not having such a huge shortage in capital.
And we should.
Bill, what was your opinion?
In line with yours, 9.7 is it's better than 15 or whatever.
15.5.
Yeah.
Now,
Skid and everything.
And even with the 250, we still have 1.5, like in worst case, 2027.
One thing I would add to consideration is the increases you're seeing this year are not looked at dropping in 2021. So the reduction we made this year, did everyone who increased it, it is an increase year too.
Yeah.
in future years, you're not gonna have 70,000 per tree trimming.
Yes. What?
And
We're talking about money, we're talking about perception.
yeah. 100%.
I mean, yeah, the hurricane fee, they have to markets. And they want to fire, they were expecting, you just push that. You don't give it for the.
Like my concern is the day you but I mean, I
It's like. Would do it again.
I will tell you that on the 851 million.
Yeah.
And I know we're gonna get probably a more rate and I'm not telling the rate on prices, not going very often. But typically there's not. Then you go into a remodel or any kind of project or anything else. Just think about the cost overruns you saw and how bad one. It's going to have some.
You know, whether it's not all that. And I just heard this, was that, like. Well, a valid takeover would take, but no, once we put a price up there, and I do want to have one disclosure here so that everybody's aware. Once we pick a price, if it's $3 million, the project, unless we change something, the project will not exceed $3 million. Now, if they do it for 2.95,
Yeah, pick it up.
we have to split that savings with them. Just so everybody knows.
If they finish it early, they get.
Well, it's looking at it, there's also the working group. If they finish early, they make $250. It's not very reasonable doing what we're doing. And I hope that because we're booking $3 million. So if we spend $3 million, that's fine. If we have to give something to them because they finished early, I don't think anyone's doing that.
No. I think the pivot point would be, what's the goal? Yeah, and that wasn't scope, and we'll say, well, that wasn't scope. It'll be the-
And that's representative that is managing that argument.
And
Yes. Absolutely.
in the execution phase, no project that doesn't go without.
Sure.
But it's just.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a negotiation.
Yeah.
At some point. And
Back. Oh, this is a change order because of this, and we'll need our management to argue, we'll need us to make sense. Here, yeah.
So there's no percent there for the quarter to consider if you wanted to drop the capital, and say 0 or 100,000. Looking at the future projects, the plan of the multi-purpose boards, is that something you open to considering CCD bond for the multi-purpose courts, $8 for the soccer field? They have and pools.
Nobody said anything like that, so I don't.
I'm just saying, if you are having these expenses that you need the capital that no longer are going to come to capital, you can get funding to change your projections.
It's very, sure, talking about bond at this point. Especially in this song.
I think we have funding, we have the internal capacity to get through these things.
Yes.
Even with the 250 drop. You get to the fourth year out, and you start talking civic center. And you talk about that particular project. When I say that, that's gonna be. Even center project. That's a 9.7.
That's not pretty, that's. See, the community center is like 10 years.
In the plan. Yeah, I would, that, I just put it out, I should put it out 2020. I don't think, no.
The community center. Believe that. You're
We would have a chance to do that, but till that point, we can sell. And I prefer, just like that, I prefer not to do it, but I'm okay with the, my history with subsidizing and buying down something and then shift things not good. Typically, they behave and invested.
Yeah.
Six or put on.
Okay, hold on. A couple of things we have to go. So sponsorship and the. We do anything with that? Someone's talking about $20,000.
They should be up some of that.
a very reasonable to have.
Gonna bring into this revenue.
That you're not counting for.
No, that's what I'm saying. So. A lot of
Some of
summer,
the expenses, that's where.
that's a $2,000. We already changed that, but
I just.
that would be like annual meeting. I wouldn't. Oh, that's a whole lot. Father, that's 2,000. Usually get them. Or 10,000.
They're hoping to do much better than me. But the issue with sponsorships is
I understand
the
it.
tricky bit.
No guarantee of life for next.
Just because I give someone a sales quota, doesn't mean that they don't do the work and hit the. So that's what I view sponsorships as. Number out there that you expect. If they hit it or not.
This is, no, this is. We also get in-kind sponsorships that usually reduce the expenditure. There's also,
And we don't know what in kind of we're gonna get.
Five.
Yeah. and like,
All the expenses.
give you an example. We got an in kind. Maybe 1 year and they donated the overnight security to the fire. That was, we avoided an expense.
I think at a minimum, most of them should be a 5,000.
Well, let's not get too branded. If we think it should be 20,000, can it should give them more than anything.
I guess why don't we do this? Grand matter. Not. You got 2,000.
Yeah.
I think
Okay. In kinds.
the, that, right, but in-kinds aren't shown.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what were the in-kind?
A lot of they eliminated in kind. There's a lot of the price reduction because they're giving a lot of freebies, the benefit of them. So it's reducing the expenses, but it's not showing that.
Let's draw up. So the results in parking lot between income and expenses,
We're talking about
I'm talking parts of it. That's what I did. I know, I don't know why we're digging in here. The opportunities in parks and Rec, we're going down from this year's achievement, what we're projecting to achieve. We're going to roll 47,000 dollars. 47,000. Income less expensive. We're on $47,000. I think each year we try to do better. These events are fluid. People can come up with ideas, sponsors, whatever it is. I think having a $47,000 drop is not a number. That's the last time I'm stated.
I was gonna say, still net with person, still a net positive on Parks and Rec as it stands. Your
What's the current year? 41 down the change, 45. Subtract the expenses from the revenue, look at it, projected versus budget, it's down $47,000. And look at the whole list. It's not a good performance. I mean, you got a department that we're saying, you can go down $47,000. It's right, I don't need to. Oh.
And that's not, not.
I go cool and maybe some numbers there.
The electric poles, 14,000, is that too high? Should it be 10? For spring, a little. Not much. You're doing 5,000 for small poles and. Shave a little longer. You just went.
I couldn't get closer on the park and rec, and I'd put 20,000 in.
We're aiming to spend 16,000 less than.
Well, get it out, get it out of expenses.
The time, we're going to. Other people, look at those groups. This, the time was right. For getting us. What is important?
You guys are planning on the day 51 station. Okay. We'll see.
I don't know what that.
I was me.
We're gonna get stopped.
Yeah.
So you will have those sorts of.
I don't think we're gonna need it. I think it's only a couple items.
With the number then,
I'm pressing through these other items because we're gonna have a tax situation. You're gonna find it from here. Pretty sure we're gonna have a tax liability there. $1,000. We can look at some of these other ones. That 9.6 or whatever it is. With the time frame. We've got to pick up a little bit in some of these others.
Well, I believe the 16 number came from, last year, so I'm carrying it. Yeah.
That could be pretty low for me, 20%. We're about, we got 3,000 in that investment. 1,000 investment we've done.
well, contraction,
Oh, no.
20%. Projected at 170.
About 15. Well, pick up. Oh, no, I added.
That's what you mean, right?
No, he wants more, another 20 in post.
Combined departments, so.
Yeah.
No, it's getting done. Right, yeah.
Everyone, base.
I added.
Okay.
There, you got 15 for one. Okay, CJC. What do you got?
I think it's
Will it change by the correction of the line for compensation?
Oh, that was
What direction?
Maybe it was just an error in the document here. There was that 100,000.
Oh, no, that was the projection here.
Strategy change and, but.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We reduced we reduced this down from 10% on the general property and liability increase. And then a few minor changes to event staff and 10,000. Of additional expense versus the previous budget. But it doesn't seem like the change in the insurance is getting put into the company.
What do you mean, not getting put into the contribution?
The insurance just falls under insurance. It doesn't fall under, like, not all of CJC falls under the contribution. Not every expense for CJC falls under. Insurance is just blanket across everything.
So the changing the estimate on CJC's budget for the insurance and how much it goes out.
It's not gonna fully impact, but
It's a
it
percentage.
has Senate.
It's a pretty high percentage, it's 50%, oh, isn't it, or something like that?
No, they're at 21% here, it's at
It's
88.
79. It's not beneficial to go, 71%.
So we're going to see it.
Well, we've messed with the numbers so much already.
It's baked in.
It's baked in.
It should be baked in if it's baked in the formulas.
Yeah, the formulas are flowing. So the Crow contribution in this spreadsheet is tied to the Crow contribution up here. And the way the formula works is expenses minus revenue is minus the 300 is what Crow's contribution to CJC is.
Yes.
In a simple
Yeah.
version of it.
So what is that number you have up there? 2,
2, 3, 4, 5.
okay.
You know, so the allocation goes 7%. Just glanced at this. The canola number at 531 for this year. They'll come in at 300 next year, so that's at 230,000. But I think when you talk about to the residents or anything else about how much that shift is, I think it's a little different number than just a 231,000 change. Because we're taking a step back from when we're taking a big increase. And unfortunately, that is the.
That need to be shared.
Yeah. That really is the shift. I know.
Not.
Staffing?
There were, that's.
Yeah, but it's not a full 100% impact.
Percentage is the way to do it. That's 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then. Placement funded. That's where I'm saying. Number. If you say the change, the difference between next year and what this year's exception is, that's $230,000. But
I think we tie it to the percentage impact on the increase for residents. That's
so that's 20%, isn't it?
increase. Is the, contribution and the. So I did that math in that document the first time after tonight, and we picked these numbers, I'm gonna redo that math.
It's gonna be 3 point something.
Yeah, it's gonna be three and change.
Percent of the increase would be because, you know.
One third will be replacement. The additional costs, future and summer. Hearing. And then will be so
I had 3.1 on both shift and 5.4 on place. To redo them, they need to be redone because we'll multiple change to 9 books.
The rest is just cost of living.
Yeah,
It's pretty flat.
yeah.
Okay.
But just some minor thoughts on CJC. So the 20,000 contribution to the special event. Outside of 4th of July, and the other events that we did on the CJC that probably about.
That's an email this afternoon. It's, 14 yard, 2 14 yard sales, the home improvement next year next year will be the, health and so. It's gonna come with the room door rotating into here and pull people in and out of celebration. I mean,
That's up to
I think too.
Yeah.
Are they all net positive events though?
With sponsorships.
With sponsorship.
Experience getting here. 4th of July tends to run a negative, but we're slowly over getting it closer to a neutral. Next year you have founders, the anniversary founders in CCS. As a proposed, we still need to convene the CCS board and have that conversation, which is pro board. Yeah,
I guess the thought on that is that all those events are open to government. So why should we be contributing to it, or should it be more of a business that make a difference? The fund, that'd be one to think of. Should that be straight to zero? One that we're taking $30,000 hit. Kind of thought sharing. If they want to do their business in the community and they want to get back to what they've been saying, they should have their business instead of the systems.
The topic of that conversation will be more than a $20,000 loss to us, I can assure you.
Business. We're not talking.
They'll pull the whole thing and go to 2.83% if we ask for a $20,000 cut.
Then the other thing would be, is the water tower by CJC? Yes. So, I don't think that produces any benefit to the residential community here. So is that something that should eventually be needed to their responsibility sometime in the future? Maybe not 2026, but something that we should be out of it so we don't longer have to maintain 90%, 85%. So
There was one thing too, when CDC meeting about the insurance. And I think there's gonna be.
Yep.
So the one thing that I thought is meetings with the insurance arrangement, we don't make any use of right now. So that's, well, that could be up to 20%. So that's something that I think needs to get potentially, we can certainly talk about that, look at that, is that what they did to the hospital?
And then the last thing would be just the marketing specialist. I heard they were looking for different protections on whether they use it or not, or if it goes over, but if that is a 100% resource used by Manila, why is that on the CJC budget? So, and again, I know you're looking at 300,000, but if that gets reduced because that goes on their budget, and how do you figure that out? That's just the other piece of that.
if they pull the marketing specialist into their budget, they will reduce their contribution by the 65,000 plus the labor burden. Insurance and burden.
It does give a true picture though of the reduced contribution though, like right now, the 300,000 doesn't take into consideration the amount that is being spent on the marketing person. So like. That's a clear picture.
All I'm saying from a town hall perspective, even from a position crossing the CJC and CJC positions too.
everything is fluid. It's very hard to delineate staff between the two entities, except for in specific cases.
I'm sensitive, everything seems to be in this discussion between the two. I think you just gotta get this system here and talk about these things down.
And the goal is to be a 3-year sum, 3-year agreement. That's also so very.
Is it?
Pretty.
Almost.
No, almost.
75%.
82?
Document,
No,
that's what people say.
no, but.
Yeah.
So we need everything else.
Yeah, that's
But again, well, I guess,
Today, comments, send it back out by the end of the week. And then if there's a bill need to meet again, we'll meet again.
Now,
Yeah.
Here's where I'll just mention something. Here's where getting that buy down, that causes a problem with me. Because that 2,000 buys down the,
excuse me.
Guys, Mike's.
the 250 is down 3.4%. Okay, so that really needs to be factored in. That's an arbitrary thing we did. If you shift 1.6, you could say that the Canova shift is 3.1, the replacement is 5.4. That accounts for the whole 9.6. That's irrational.
And then you say.
That's where you didn't say that.
Well, that's, I think, where you show, you did,
Because the way it was. The diets and all that, all, you have.
but I think you look at it as you do a gross number of,
That's a high number.
So I don't think you do it on a percentage basis then. I think you just lay the numbers out there.
The narrative is that we can't contribute an additional $1,000. I know what basically not. I'm sorry. That's urging.
That is the.
That is what's happening. So is it?
cost you $40 extra.
80 cents of finance committee what's been drafted by the board is just if you guys can comment on it, if you want to add it. I'll push out the final number. You guys can make a recommendation of what to add.
Motion from the finance committee to adjourn.
I said.
Okay. Then, thank you.
Thank you.